All right, we've got our topography. I painted this path. I didn't paint the one on the other side yet, but it doesn't matter. So we need to start working on some of the site elements, um, especially starting with the floor. I'm not sure, because yeah, we use this as the cutout. All right. Um, so I'm going to come over here and we're going to follow all of this. It's going to come to the end of the trees and under each outside barrel vault. We want them to be the same dimensions. So I've already got this model line running right through the middle of these two grids. So for me, they're grids 10 and 11. I just drew a model line when I was doing my pony walls for the stairs and then came from the midpoint there. So I'm going to come into floor, architecture. I've duplicated a generic 12-inch and called it travertine. I have not changed the material yet, but I'll go in at some point and do that. And now I want to trace coming from that model line on the edge of the floor I've drawn. Come into this corner of the column. And now the walkway itself actually extends a little beyond this column, but since I don't know the dimensions, I'm just going to snap to the outside corner. And I'm going to come straight down again until I get to the trees because this part is another wall. We've got stairs that start coming down here, so I'm just going to go to the edge of what I think are the trees. I'm vertically down to that midpoint line. And now if I hover over one of them, I click tab, it'll do the entire chain. I could say mirror pick axis. And now for some reason, this side keeps giving me an error message, but I can clean that up just using the trim tool. So I click here, and now whatever error, even though I used model line, is gone. So we want to make sure we're not making it on the main floor though. Remember, we are outside the main floor. We are on level 0. So we'll click apply. Finish this up. Do not attach anything to them. And if we go to our 3D view, you can see we have this nice floor. You can also see there's a bit of a gap in between that and the topography. So what you can do to fix that is you can just click on the topography. You can click subdivide. We can use that to our advantage. And then we can go back to this view and just start using pick line for the entire floor we just drew. And so what that will do is it'll give us the opportunity. I'm going to use tab so I get the whole length to raise up the ground just underneath by 1 foot. And when we do our section cut, it will look solid instead of having a weird gap. And you'll notice even the example on canvas has a bizarre gap. All right, so I think that's everything, and we'll find out in a second. Where are they intersecting? So usually it'll give you a highlight, so it thinks there's a problem here. That's okay. I'll click continue. I'll use the trim tool. Now that works, and it's already default coming up by 1 foot. And that's the exact same size as the gap we had. So now if we zoom in, you can see this bit of topography comes right to the bottom of our floor. We need to make 3 more. We need to make one here, one here, and one here. Each of these stairs is 1 foot wide tread. So I need to be able to see this path below and create a 3-foot reference line. So the easiest way to do that is I have to make sure I'm not clicked on any one thing. In the floor plan, if I scroll down in the extents, I can do the view range. Now I can change this bottom. Right now it defaults to the floor we're on. I want to make it unlimited. Same thing with the view depth level. I want to make that unlimited. And now when I click apply, I can see this path. And now I can make a model line. Comes 3 feet off the path. And then I'm going to do one more in this direction, and that way I can use the snap function when I'm making the floor. So I can make one here, and as long as I've modeled correctly, I can mirror that to the other side, and it'll automatically be 3 feet away. I'm coming back in floor. Architecture, we're still using this travertine. I'm going to start from this corner, which is where our other floor ends. I'm going to come to the inside of that, hopefully, and then I'm going to snap to the model line. I'm just going to get this close for now, and then I'll use the align tool. All right, so I'm the exact distance I want here, but I want to be just inside of this column. So I'm going to switch to the align tool. First, I'm going to click where I want to move the floor to, which is the inside of this column. And then I'm going to click this boundary. And now I have exactly what I'm looking for. Click modify because it still thinks I'm using the align tool. And I need to make sure I'm not making it on the main floor. I need to make sure now this one is on level -1. Click apply, click OK. So now this is 1 foot below this main walkway. And because it's a foot thick, it rests directly on our topography. So I can click on it. I can say mirror pick axis. And now if I do another model line, let's just check, it should be 3 feet exactly to the path. And it is. So if yours isn't, that means something went wrong earlier, and we'd have to figure that out. I'm just going to delete this because I don't need a bunch of random model lines going. So now over here, we want it to run the same extent as this, all the way up to the far end of the path. I'm going to go back to floor, architecture. I'm going to change it to level -1. I'm going to make it another rectangle. I'm going to start on this corner. This is another situation where, okay, it snapped this time. Good. So I'm snapped to the outside of the path. Oh, no, it didn't snap. All right, I'm going to have to use the align tool again. That's fine. I have it roughly where I want it. Now I'm going to use line. I want it to be here, so I'm going to click here first. And now I'll finish it up. So we go back into 3D. We got another floor. It sits directly on top of our path. And we got 2 more over here. So now we need to make some stairs for this. I'm going to start in here to make these stairs. And the way I'm going to do it is by making a section cut. Let me see. I think I already have a section. So let me look at what's hidden. Sure do. So I'm going to unhide this. And I'm going to move it so that it's right where I want it. And it just needs to come up. Yeah, I can go right there, right in the middle. So now when I go to that section view, Gonna be a little crowded, but bear with me. So we need to create a set of stairs from this floor down to this floor. Each tread is going to be a foot wide with a 4-inch rise. So I'm going to start at the top because I know that's the easiest. I'm also going to switch to wireframe because I think they start over here. Yeah. So this is actually, you can tell this is where we're cutting because we have one more covered here and then we come into the building. Let me double check from my 3D or from my main floor view. Where is my actual floor? So yeah, I've got 1 barrel, 2 barrel, and then the start of the 3rd barrel vault right along the column is where my floor is. So 1 barrel, 2 barrel, the start of this is the top of my treads. So I'm going to go architecture, component, model in place, and I call it stairs because that's what they are. It's going to be an extrusion. And I'm going to pick grid 8 because I think that's where I said my model line was. If not, it doesn't matter. We're going to fix it later. I'm going to use the straight line. I'm going to make sure chain is on because it's just going to be a bunch in a row. I'm going to come over a foot and I'm going to come down 4 inches. Over a foot and down 4 inches. I'm going to keep doing that until I get to the ground, which should be a total of 6. All right, so now we need to close this. And we have our outline. I'm going to switch just so it's a little easier to see. So this is our outline. Foot over, 4 down, foot 4, foot 4, foot 4. I'm going to change the material now. Glass steps wouldn't be very good. So these are going to be travertine. We may end up changing the scale later compared to the walls, but that's fine because we can always duplicate the asset and change it. So I'm looking for the one I called Kimball travertine because we use this for there we go. We use this for Farnsworth as well. So I'm going to click OK. I'm not copying this particular one because it's the only run of 6 we've got, so I'm not going to bother editing the work plan. But I am going to come back to this main floor level. And oof, I was way off on my grid. I should have used a different one. I'm just going to drag the shape handle here. What think I'm doing? Oh. Let me go back to my section. I don't know what I did. Oh, so I've got my shape. Go back to in line for a minute. Change it back to travertine again. There we go. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna go to my main floor. And before I start grabbing any handles, I'm just gonna zoom all the way in because it seemed to cause an issue. I'm gonna roughly line them up with the edge of that floor. And let's see if it'll snap for the other one. There we go. So now these are exactly the same width as this extension over here, which means they're going to be symmetrical because everything else we did is. I'm going to finish the model. And I'm going to go to my 3D view. So now we have these nice travertine stairs going over here. So I'm going to do 3 more coming down this way. You can use that same section and just come over here. But before I do that, I want to pick a better grid line. So I want to start it. I'm going to start it on 11 this time, and it'll at least be close. So architecture. Sorry. Everything just got weird on me. Component model in place. Stairs. It's going to be another extrusion. What did I say? 11. What did I say? 11. Same rise, same run. 1 foot over, 4 inches down. Should still be travertine. I am probably going to copy this one. So I'm going to go ahead and disassociate it from the work plane. I'm going to go to my top view. And I'm going to drag this handlebar until I get full width of what I'm making. All right. Cool. That's done. Come back to 3D. Now I have 2 sets of stairs. Everything else I'm doing is the same rise, same run, 3 treads. So at this point, I can start copying these and then rotate them and then use the mirror function. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight this, go back to the main floor. I'm going to click copy. I'm just going to come from this corner of the treads. I'm going to copy it to, where's the edge, Mario? Here we go, right there. Now if you go to 3D, it's going to look kind of weird. Got these stairs coming off the edge here. Did I actually line them up? Let's take a look. Yes. So now I can rotate them. And click here and say rotate. Well, I'm going to place a rotation point and I'm going to make it this corner. I'm going to come right along this edge. And I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. It'd be a lot easier to see my degrees if I was in hidden line. Let me try this again. Click on it, rotate, place a rotation point at this corner. Come down this way, rotate it 90 degrees. Now I can use the shape handle, come down so that it lines up with the path. The only other thing I need to do is move it down. So if I come from the west view, it is sitting too high up. I just switch to move. I'm gonna bring this bottom corner straight down. It's already highlighted. I can click mirror, pick axis, pick that midpoint. Now I've got a second set over here. Now I can switch back to copy. And grab a corner. I can move it right up to this corner. I don't think I matched that very well, but that's all right. Because I can fix it. I'm going to highlight it again. First, I'm going to move it to where it's supposed to be. Which is on the edge here. And now I'm going to bring that. I can use mirror. I can go back into the 3D view. I'll switch to realistic so we can see what I'm looking at. And I have all of my stairs. Oh, not all of them and not all in the right place. So, again, easy to fix. I'm actually gonna raise these by a foot. And then I'll copy this one. And you'll see what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna bring these up 1 foot. Now on this other side, I'm actually just gonna move those out to where they belong on the ground. And then it'll start to make sense. I'm gonna highlight these. And again, I'm gonna move them, but this time I'm gonna move them out here. So now I can mirror these and then mirror the other ones that are the correct height. But that's easiest to do from this view. So now I have my two lower ones, and I need my mid ones. Now it should actually look very. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of stairs that go from our main floor eventually down to the topography. All right, I'm gonna pause this one and start a fresh one for the water features.